on the Tyra Hill Show. Let's talk about the Tyra Hill Show. Hello and welcome to the Tyra Hill Show. I am your leading lady, Tyra Hill, and today I'm talking justice for Leden Boykins. Leden Boykins was a vibrant 12-year-old who was loved by his family. But on September the 10th, 2021, all of that changed for his parents, Tony and Anthony Boykins, when they found out that their son was killed in a high-speed chase involving a family friend, his son, and Georgia State troopers who decided to do a pit maneuver, killing 12-year-old Leden. Today, I'm sitting down and I'm talking with his father, Anthony Boykins. I want to know how it happened. I need to know why it happened. And most of all, I want to know how we can help this family to begin their healing and to get justice for Leden. Welcome back to the Tyra Hill Show. Joining me for Justice for Leden is Leden's father, Anthony Boykins. Hi, Anthony.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I know this conversation is probably hard for you because it's hard for me. When I first saw the story and read about it, my heart just went into panic and it dropped for you all. I first want to give you my condolences, not that I haven't already, but publicly. I know that this is a hard season in your life. Mm-hmm. I have so many questions. Mm-hmm. But first, I kind of want to start it off with talking about Leden. You know, as a 12-year-old, I know he was probably into PlayStation, hobbies, things that he liked. He loved his family. When you look at all of his pictures, you see the joy and the excitement in his eyes. Tell us a little bit about your son.
Great kid, great personality. People's person, outgoing. I like to call him the bully killer. He's friendly towards everybody but the bully. He's good at everything. So, you know, he's
the bully
small.
Killer, I like that.
Yeah, he's small. Like we call him the big dog with little, the little dog with big paws.
Oh.
You know how to cut hair, wash cars. He was.
Because you were present in his life. You were always a hands-on father.
Yeah. I'm the every first day of school, father. Like I'm the pack your lunch and kick you out the house, daddy. Get on out and go to school. I'm the pull up to the school when it's a problem, father. No matter how far I'm away. He was a real kid, but he was being grown to be a real person. He had dreams and aspirations of going to the NBA. He was very good at basketball. He's been playing ball since he was 3 years old. So yeah, he had high expectations. You know, like music, dancing, you know what I mean? And his kid, and a community kid. Like, he started not to be prejudiced, so his friends, his group of friends was diverse. It didn't matter what your nationality was. What he was taught was how a person treats you. So if somebody treats you a certain way, that's how you treat them. They show you respect, you show them respect. So he's a good kid, great kid, great. And
we know from just watching his pictures or seeing his pictures in the videos that he was a major part of the Boykins family. Yeah. He has older siblings. Right. You know. Right.
His siblings was grown. He was a baby. You know.
He was the baby.
He was the baby. Yeah. All his sisters and brothers in their 20s, 30s. So, you know what I'm saying? 12 years old, he had a different conversation because the people he communicated with was at a different level than people that most people had to communicate with. You know, he got a different sort of education. It came to him easy, where it came to us hard. Our sisters and brothers was the same age as us, so they only learned what they learned.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. I look at his pictures and I see so much life, and I can only imagine the pain and the turmoil that your family has been through since September the 10th of 2021. Can we talk about that day? When you got the phone call?
About 4 in the morning. I'm asleep, gotta go to work, gotta wake up in about an hour. So I've been hearing my phone ringing, but everybody know I gotta go to work in the morning. This particular time, it just rung too many times. So I answer the phone. It's the wife on the phone screaming. So the breakdown of the story is my wife and my stepson, my son, but he my stepson. He my son's.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah. So
we claim all the kids.
They're in town for a funeral. My stepson has to bury his father. So when my wife came to town, she came and got my truck so they had some transportation. I'm on my bike. So when I look at the phone and see it's her number, I'm thinking something happened to the truck. And when I answer and she's screaming, I'm trying to tell her to calm down because it's just a truck. You know what I'm saying? I'll get another truck. And then I heard somebody dead. So I'm still not in my mind, my 12-year-old son. I'm thinking my oldest son that came to Flint, and I don't know if he done got into it with somebody,
and something
or
popped
been out
off
here and experimented and took one of these fake pills they're giving people, because the city is crazy right now. But come to find out, he was on cool because he had some business to take care of. He's not the problem at all. And then I heard her say my son's name. And she's screaming and crying. So I'm like, well, you know, what's the deal? And she's trying to explain to me, but she don't know what happened. All she knows is he dead. So.
And that's something hard for a mother, even a father, to convey.
Yeah. So I get up and go to where she at. You know what I'm saying? Try to figure it out. And, you know, I realized that the story is true. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, I'm in my feelings, but right now she is highly emotional and needs, you know, so I'm trying to sit still and hold my face because, you know, I'm ready to, I don't know what happened. I'm ready to go.
Because at this point, you don't have any answers.
No, they're just telling me it was an accident. And the police was involved.
Okay.
So, you know, and then the more the story is coming to, it's like he was riding with his neighbor, which is his friend. You know what I'm saying? So it's him at 12, and he's finna turn 13 in 18 days. His friend is 14. He just turned 14. So they're partners. They live directly across the street from each other. They ride together. And his friend's father is driving. And apparently they were supposed to go do some work. His father, the friend's father, got a job cleaning up parking lots or whatnot. This is the story that got to me. So he took the boys out to help him do the work or whatnot. And on the way back home, he got pulled over. And now, that's all we know at this point. We don't. I mean, we don't even know that much. That I learned when I got to Georgia. Come to think of it, we just know it was an accident involving the police. We don't know if they were in traffic, the police were chasing somebody else, and because you know what I'm saying.
All you know is now your 12-year-old son is dead.
Right. So at this point, it's not It's just heartfelt sadness. It's not no finger pointing or nothing like that. So we get to Georgia. This is a Friday. Friday is the 10th. But mind you, this happened on a Thursday night. This is 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying?
Early morning.
Right. That's why when the call came through, I was like, no, you gotta be saying the wrong name because he in the bed asleep.
Right.
He got school in the morning. I'm that father. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's a bedtime. There's a curfew. Right.
So, come to find out, his grandmother, Peppy, who was watching him at the time, gave him permission to go with the neighbors to do this job. You know what I'm saying? You know how kids is with their grandparents. You know, they know they're a little more lenient than their parents.
We are.
So, you know what I'm saying? He come to his grandmother, and my son is, you know, like I said, he was
a charmer.
Not just that, but he was taught.
Pie.
He was taught a lot. So he was about his money. That's a job.
And that's business.
Yeah,
Grandma, I'm going to work.
Yeah,
Let me go make this money.
So
But that's how you raised them. You've always worked.
So
yeah,
he you know, they go, this thing happens or whatnot. And so come, Friday, trying to figure out who to talk to, what's the appropriate way of going about it, where is he?
Getting answers.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we book a flight early Saturday morning. We're both gonna touch down in Atlanta. So we flew in together. We get there and nobody has any answers. Like, we asked my mother-in-law, well, where's the body at? She don't know. I said, well, did anybody call you? Nobody's called. I said, nobody knocked at the door? Nobody's knocked at the door. You haven't heard from the police? Haven't heard from the police.
Wow.
So, I'm like, okay. I get on the phone. And I call Paulding County Sheriff's Department, which is the county we live in. Paulding County say, we simply there assisting them, so we don't have nothing to do with it. We don't have, we're not taking reports and things of that nature. We're just there for assistance. Well, who should I contact? It was Georgia State Patrol. So I contact Georgia State Patrol. We can't give you any information on the case. Wait a minute.
So Georgia State Patrol tells Anthony Boykins, the father of the deceased, Leden Boykins, that they can't give you any information?
No, they can't give me any information on the case. It's being investigated by the GBI. And so I contact the GBI, and the GBI...
That's the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. I contact them, and they tell me that legally they're not allowed to give me any information on the case. First they said they didn't have the body. I asked them, did they have it? They said no. I said, I'm sorry. I'm his father. I understand that my son died in an accident involving Georgia State Patrol, and you have the body. They said, you have to contact the Paulding County Coroner's Office. Wait a minute, these calls, I apologize. These calls started with the Paulding County Coroner's Office, and she sent me in the direction I went in. So when they said that, I said, I talked to the Paulding County Coroner's Office, and I talked to the person she told me to talk to. Long story short, they pointed me in your direction and said that you have control of my son's body. Well, we're not in there. Well, she put me on hold, and then she came back. I guess she figured out I wasn't lying. We're not entitled to give you any information. You have to talk to the Paulding County Coroner. That's who's supposed to give the death report and everything, and talk to the family and communicate with the family. Mind you, none of these people called us. I'm calling everybody. So now people start...
Hold on. Because I'm taking it all in. And so you contacted the Paulding County, then they led you to the next person, which was the Georgia State Patrol. The Georgia State Patrol then led you to GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Who led me back to?
Who led you back to Paulding County.
Right.
But I guess my question is, I always know that policy and procedure matters, but we're talking about a baby, a 12-year-old.
Yeah, they never took that into consideration. Not just that, a 12-year-old got killed, and you didn't bother to try to contact his parents or anything.
The next of kin, nobody called.
So finally, I contact the Paulding County Coroner's Office, and she says, let me reach out to somebody, and I'm gonna have somebody call you. So, a person named Sergeant Sabatos from the Georgia State Patrol Office ended up calling my phone. And he got on the phone and he told his story. He went on and on and on. And there were a few times I interrupted him to ask him some questions, because what he was telling me was that they didn't know it was kids in the car, and that this man had a flag over his window, over his back window. There was supposed to be a flag over the window so they couldn't see that my son was in the back seat. And I stopped him, I said, so you saying you didn't see the kid in the back seat, what about the 14-year-old in the front seat? And his words, I swear to God, his words were, he was kind of tall. As if that made a difference or whatever. So he go on to tell a story about pulling the man over, the man asking for supervision. And
which, when you get pulled over, you can ask for a supervisor.
Apparently not in Paulding County, Georgia, you can't.
Wow.
He asked for a supervisor. And apparently he rolled his window back up. And this is what they didn't tell me. I found out later.
Okay.
What they didn't tell me was the Paulding County Police, the Paulding County Sheriff's Department then came to the other side of the car where the 14-year-old boy was and started breaking the windows out. And so my man who was driving pulled off. Now, everybody make a big deal to say he was running from the police. What they don't understand was he was black. He got 2 minors in the car. He in the backwoods of Paulding County on some dark back roads. And he's surrounded by white officers, overzealous officers at that, because it was a way to de-escalate this situation, I'm sure, outside of breaking the windows out with minors in the car. And here's the thing, if you break some windows out with minors in the car, do they sit there silently?
No. Hold that thought. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back. I need for you guys to tune in to the rest of this conversation. Don't go nowhere.
I am afraid. I'm afraid for my life. Them off of me right now because I'm scared. I got my kids with me right now. Man, my God. They trying to flip my car, man.
And welcome back to the Tyra Hill Show. Today I'm talking justice for Leden Boykins with Leden Boykins' father, Mr. Anthony Boykins. Before the commercial break, we were talking about Paulding County and how the police officers surrounded the car and were allegedly breaking out the windows in the car.
No, that's not alleged. The police will admit to that.
Okay,
they broke
so
the windows
police,
out.
They broke out the windows. And so I want to take a minute and say, dealing with the climate in the United States around police brutality and the injustices. And we've seen it with just not our black men and boys, but with our black women as well, and even white people as well. I can see him being afraid to interact with the police, especially when emotions are high, people are screaming.
Well, the thing is, like I told you, he was taught a lot in life. So he was taught how to deal with the police too. My man could have handled himself better, in my opinion. I don't know what all was said. I don't know why he wanted to speak to a supervisor. I haven't got his side of the story yet. So
because he's currently in prison, in jail, awaiting trial because he's been charged with murder and a DUI. There is a 911 call.
There is a 911 call.
And during this 911 call, he's stating that he was pulled over, he doesn't feel safe, and why is the police trying to hit his car when he has kids in the car?
I am afraid. I'm afraid for my life. Them off of me right now because I'm scared. I got my kids with me right now. They trying to flip my car, man.
So somewhere down the road, they knew, the 911 dispatcher knew, that kids were in the car.
And if you listen to the call, you never hear her de-escalate. You never hear her tell her officers he have kids in the car, back down. You know, they never tried to find another way. They knew it was kids in the car. In their protocol, this is in their bylaws, that the first thing to say is, unless there are kids in the vehicle, You see what I'm saying? So they can't admit that they knew that there were kids in the vehicle, because then they broke their own bylaws.
Absolutely. The protocol, I was going to say that the Georgia State Troopers, in their protocol, they're supposed to evaluate the whole situation. And if you look at their protocols, it says if children are in the car.
My boy is 12 years old. I'm not a short person. I'm not a tall person. I stand 5'8" in my shoes. So my son ain't that tall. He didn't look that big. So they can't admit that they seen him in the car. You understand what I'm saying? But I want to ask you this. How many times have the police, these are the state troopers, so they're well trained.
Right.
How many times have the police walked up to a car in darkness and not flashed a light in every window of the car?
Absolutely.
So
from the back to the front.
So when you say I didn't know there were kids in the car, and you tell me you got officers on this side of the car and officers on this side of the car, if you tell me he had a flag in both windows, you covered y'all, but you said he had a flag in the window. You didn't cover y'all because y'all looked through the back window, the side windows, the front windows. Y'all trying to protect yourself.
And let's be clear that they did exactly what you said they did by flashing the lights, dark road, nighttime, and once they flashed the lights in there and they saw the two young men in the car and the driver, the adult male driver, and the adult male driver took off, they should have said, fall back. It's kids in this car. But at this point, that just went out the window.
No, they didn't see a parent and two children. They saw 3 black men.
Yeah, that's what they saw.
Yeah. But it wasn't 3 black men. You know what I mean? It's your job as an officer to be sure. You went and looked in the car. Even when y'all was breaking them windows out and heard them voices, you knew that wasn't a man's voice you heard. But that's speculation, because we weren't there. We can't say they were screaming. They haven't released the dash cam or the body cam.
I was just about to ask that.
No, we don't have any evidence. First of all, let me be clear with you. The police are not being transparent with us. There's a reason that they didn't come to the family and knock on the door and say, son, sir, ma'am, your son has been killed in an accident. There's a reason they didn't do that. There's a reason they never reached out to us. The only reason that they reached out to us is because I called somebody that called them and had them call. And when he called and told his story, I sat back, let him tell his whole story. And I use this voice right here because I know you can't get no answers with aggression. And after he told his whole story, I said, sir, so you mean to tell me that you got this gentleman out of the car and he broke away from y'all and ran and jumped back in his car? I said that on purpose. Because that was not what he said. So he said no. And then he told me the whole story over again, word for word. So he already knew what he was going to say. He said the whole story over again, word for word. Right? And then when the story came out on the news, all of a sudden the man ran over an officer's foot. Well, I talked to your sergeant on the phone.
And none of that was said.
It never got said. And then you'll see on the news they say it was a high-speed chase. High-speed chase!
Yeah, high speed. That's what all of the news articles, the newspaper articles, the news clippings, high-speed chase.
We happened to get a copy of the coroner's report. He was going 45 miles per hour. 45 miles per hour. On a street, under construction, you can only go 45 miles per hour. The speed limit normally is 55 on the street. But since it's under construction, you can only go 45. So he was going the speed limit, yet it was a high-speed chase.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And this they can't take down. They can't undo it. It's public record. It's in the coroner's report. High-speed chase. In the coroner's report, 45 miles per hour. That's how fast he was going in a high-speed chase. And the long story is, y'all killed my boy and never even gave me a courtesy call. You never even, let's get back to calling around looking for the body, because I want you to understand something. We still don't know who identified our son's body. They claim his grandmother did it. My mother-in-law never left the house, and my mother is dead. So his grandmother never did it. Then they got on the news and said a cousin did it. None of my cousins did it, and none of my wife's cousins did it. So what I'm asking for is a document. Produce a document with a signature on it.
Say who claimed his body.
Yeah, the who came down here and identified and told y'all that was my son. First of all, I had to have an attorney go find my son's body for real. The GBI had.
How long did it take you to get access to his body?
This happened Thursday night, Friday morning. I didn't see my son until approximately 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Monday evening. Miss Waters arranged for us to see my son's body. And yeah, but they had already performed an autopsy on it. Yeah, by the time I got to him, the top of his skull, you could see where it had been cut open, and yeah, they had did their business, and you know, and just it moved on. You know what I'm saying? This is their process.
So you feel like from the beginning of this, it has been nothing but cover up, no transparency.
It's been no transparency, all cover up, and just I mean, it's almost like just forced stress. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I hate to put the burden on other people, but if it's your 12-year-old son, what actions do you take? Because people got a lot of questions. You're going to have white people, black people against each other. You're going to have, you know, it's going to get past ethnicity, and it's going to be age groups, and then it's going to be the police against people. And the only question I got is what if this is your 12-year-old son that's dead in the ground and you don't got the answers for it? What's your move?
This is a kid. You know, it's kind of putting me in the mind of what Mamie Till had to go through with Emmett Till.
Yeah.
When they, you know, was trying to bury him before she could even claim the body or say it was him. It's a cover up, and I know this has to be painful for you. You feel helpless sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes. I had a lot of support, you know, from my personal community. And then, like I said, my personal opinion, I got a lot of support. Our family got a lot of support from attorney Zenobia Waters. Ms. Waters was responsible for a lot of things being appropriated, and she's greatly appreciated. We're moving forward right now, and we're in a different place. And there's an attorney, Lee Merritt, that's
Lee Merritt. He's actually running for governor in
no,
Attorney General in Texas. Yeah. Yes.
So Attorney Lee Merritt is our attorney at
He's
this
a good
time.
one. He's a good one. He's gonna fight for you.
Okay.
I want to know, with everything that has been done or the lack thereof, where do we go from here? What do you want to see? And how can the community help you? Because I know Flint has showed up for you. I know Georgia has showed up for you, but I want the world to show up for you.
My cause is justice for Leden. And a lot of people ask, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, we need to, first of all, have some sort of law. Say it.
We can take it to Congress.
There needs to be a law to where when things like this happen. However, Officer Zay Wicks, I hope I'm saying it right. I know for a fact Officer David Peterson of the Georgia State Patrol, Mr. Wicks is supposed to be from the Paulding County Sheriff's Department. There's another one from the Paulding County Sheriff's Department who was immediately involved. But these guys are still pulling cars over. They went back to work. They're still supporting their family.
No paid administration leave.
No, I got that. I got that. They said that initially, paid administrative leave, but just recently we found that the Georgia State Patrol concluded their investigation and found that none of their officers had anything,
No wrongdoing.
No wrongdoing.
How is that possible? They were in an alleged high-speed chase. They pit maneuver, which I think they should do away with the pit maneuver, like I think they should do away with the no-knock warrants. They pit maneuvered a car that had 2 minor children in it. I don't care if they were tall. I don't care if they were 7 feet tall. 12 and 14, they're still children. And I know that your family is fighting for justice. I wholeheartedly agree with you that the driver could have handled it differently. For whatever reason, he didn't. But when you're dealing with trained police officers who are called upon to make quick decisions, sometimes life-changing decisions, somebody should have had enough sense.
They should be held to the highest regard.
Absolutely.
Because first and foremost, they knew it was children in the car. Now, there's a lot of reasons to say, I didn't know. One being, you knew it was children in the car and you didn't make a move to protect them. If you thought he was intoxicated, how you know the kids wasn't in danger? You instantly went on white people, black people. I'm not a prejudiced person. I didn't teach my son to be prejudiced, but I know prejudiced people when I see them. And I'm not scared to say it. I don't care about their feelings. I'm not the person that's going to walk soft. Georgia State Protocol. That's what we keep going to. We need to look at the Paulding County Protocol, because before Mr. Peterson, Officer Peterson, actually pulled the pit maneuver to flip the car to kill my son, the Paulding County patrol officers attempted to do a pit maneuver unsuccessfully.
But you can hear him saying that in the 911 call.
They trying to flip my car. And I
have kids in the car. Yeah. So what can we do? And I'm serious about maybe going before Congress, getting the Leden bill so the pit maneuvers can be gone and done with.
Not just gone, but when you responsible for a child's death, you should have to stand there. If that man got to fight behind the walls, the officer should have to fight from behind the walls too. It's unfair for him to be out here still making a paycheck, taking care of his family every day, and then he gonna walk into the courtroom with a smile on his face and some sunglasses because he's at ease. He's been at home. There's no skin off his back. But this other man is in jail. He got to call his daddy, and other people got to make moves to put money together just to fight his legal battle.
Because
why
they're trying to put it all on him.
And why y'all can say, yeah, put what on him though? Did he shoot at the officers? Did he swing at an officer? He did not threaten one of them officers. You know what I'm saying? So saying driving off is one thing. You got to put high-speed chase in it to make it sound good to the community so they can back you. But when they find out he was going 45 in a 45 and it wasn't a high-speed chase, where did you stand? And then when you flip the car knowing it was kids in there, and you could, here's the thing, and this is real talk. Once you Google his name and listen to the stories, you'll hear the police officer. We stopped talking because the police was talking so much. They went to the news so many times to get their story off that they told different stories. You know, in some stories he got his foot ran over, other stories he didn't. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can listen to their stories change. But it doesn't take away from the fact. It don't take away from the fact.
That Leden still should be here.
Yeah.
The police still should be held accountable.
That situation should have been de-escalated.
Right. De-escalated.
I never heard 911 say, guys, there's children in the car, back off.
And nobody is showing empathy, compassion, sympathy, or anything.
And I explain it in the simplest form. This is as simple as you can say it to a person. If he would have got shot dead in the street by another boy, they would have knocked on my door and said, Mr. Boykins, there's been a situation. Your son has got killed. It's 6 months later, they still ain't knocked on my door. Why? 6 months later, they hold my 12-year-old son's phone for evidence. Why? He's not a criminal. He did not create any criminal activity. He did not commit any criminal act. No, they won't release his phone. Why? It's evidence.
But their investigation is over. But their investigation is over. That's what you just said.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So they should be releasing his personal items.
Exactly.
But you know what this reminds me of? Of the young man that the Georgia Bureau of Investigations investigated that was found in the mat rolled up in his high school gym.
I remember that. That was down in it wasn't Valdosta, but it was Southern Georgia. It was one of those football. It might have been Valdosta.
It was Valdosta.
It might have been. It's ridiculous, and it shouldn't have to come to that. And I shouldn't have to discuss other young men tragically losing their life, but it's unfortunate that it happens, and it's happening over and over again. Their intentions were to get their man, regardless. You're gonna get your man. And on that road with my son in the car, you guys determined that somebody was gonna be hurt that night. You know what I mean? First of all, the distance of the chase. Look at it.
How many miles was the distance of the chase?
The chase didn't go over 5 miles. You know what I mean? I lived there, so I went back through the trails and everything, and it wasn't even a 5 mile or 4 mile chase before they flipped the car over. How long did they chase OJ before they let him out the car to go in there and hug his mama?
Hours.
And more than that, other people, like there are people who are literally chased all around from city to city. You know what I mean? But when there's no camera on you, and then I can't really just say it's a prejudice thing, even though it was all white cop. Now that particular incident might have been prejudice, but I've seen cases where young white boys lose their life to the police. You know what I mean? But in this particular case, they're trying to bury it. They don't want nobody to talk about it. And it's my job to come out and talk about it.
So you have to be Leden's voice. You have to advocate for his son, for your son. You have to fight for justice for him.
Right.
That is your job as his father, as a parent. And let me tell you what I can't get up out of my head from the 911 call. I can't get up out of my head hearing that man scream, Leden, Leden. Because at this point, I wasn't there. I'm thinking his body had been ejected from the car.
Halfway.
Okay. Right.
When a 12-year-old boy was killed because the police flipped the car. How does
not accidentally, deliberately. See, I think that's what we're missing. They didn't just accidentally. They intentionally.
You see what I'm saying?
I get it. I totally understand.
So you can try to pull yourself from the situation as much as you want to.
But it always comes back to your yard.
It's going to sit right there in your yard. The truth is going to sit right there. Y'all killed the 12-year-old. And now my question to the community is, what are we going to do about it? It's my son this time. So yeah, I'm speaking up. And I'm going to keep speaking up. But what are we going to do about it? They killed a 12-year-old baby, defenseless. You understand what I'm saying?
And then cleared all of the officers
for nothing
involved.
he done. Yeah, you clear the officers involved and put the charges on this man. So what happens next week when they flip a car with your son in it? Are you gonna call me?
What can we do? How can we help? How can what can we do?
Reach out, send letters.
Congressman, Georgia senator.
Tweet their congressman. Tweet the attorney general of Georgia. Let them know that this child was wrongly killed. The only thing I ask for, my hashtag is simple. Hashtag justice for Leden. You know what I mean? Our kids matter.
Yes.
Is our cause.
Yes.
But this message needs to be heard before your kid is killed by the police. There's a lot of things that we don't hear about. And I'm gonna tell you something about Paulding County. People die in Paulding County, it gets swept under the rug. You don't hear about it. And that's why I'm making this noise right now. I want Paulding County to be held responsible for their actions. You guys were as much involved as the Georgia State Patrol was. I want the Georgia State Patrol officer to be held responsible for his actions. I found out that whenever there's a cop involved, homicide, murder, that cop has to face a grand jury in order to clear his name. However, I don't know who the prosecutor is. Let's be honest with you. If you ask me who murdered my son, it was Officer David Peterson. So, you know what I'm saying? I know who was responsible for flipping the car. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Moore's actions was something different. And should he be held responsible for his actions? Of course. But did he flip a car with kids in it and kill somebody?
You just want accountability all across the board.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Hold him accountable for what he should be held accountable for. And I don't think he should be held accountable for pulling off if you're breaking my windows out and I got kids in the car. Okay?
On a dark
So whatever
road
you
in
pulled him over for, that's what he should be held accountable for. Because it's my son, and it's hard for me to take sides. But you never gave me Mr. Moore's side of the story, so all I have to go off of is what the police said. And according to what they said, if they pull me over in a dark street in Georgia and surround my car with white people, and all I got in the car is kids with me, if they start breaking the windows out, I pull off too. That's where I stop and say, do I blame him for pulling off? Not according to what the police are telling me.
And he called 911. We can't keep making this up. Like, he called 911. Evidently, he was scared for himself and for those children.
911 for nothing. So
criminals don't call 911. This isn't just my check-in. You know, we've talked off camera. I'm so grateful that you were willing to sit down and speak with me because I know this is painful for you. But I do want to sit down and talk with the Queen, Tony, and along with you. And I want to follow up, and I want to keep this story out there so that people can know that we're fighting for justice for Leden.
Exactly.
That's Leden.
And look at this social media. There's justiceforleden.com and
hashtag
Justice for Leden on TikTok and then Instagram and all that stuff. But check it out. The kid was like I said, he was taught a lot, so he knew a lot. He was well knowledge, but he was a gamer. And like as a 12-year-old, he had like 16,000 followers on Xbox. Like his TikTok following was phenomenal. Like he danced, but he could dance. He he was good at what he do. So, you know, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of those guys, I don't know his Xbox video name to tell his friends that's why he hasn't been there in these 6 months, but. You know, 16,000 followers at 12 years old, you made an impact on a lot of people. So I'm pretty sure if they knew who I was talking about, it'll be a different look at it.
And if it's anything that I can do, you know that, and just keep pushing this and sharing and tweeting and writing letters and calling your Georgia congressmen and women, and just letting them know that we want justice for Leden.
And in the state of Georgia, I mean, spread the word.
I think I would say this. The community, the African American community, we have experienced so much loss that sometimes we do become numb to tragedy, desensitized to tragedy. And I want to salute you. I hate that you have to do this, but I've been watching you rock out with interviews and advocating for Leden and being his voice and fighting for justice. I know that's not easy, so salute to you. And we want to invite the other advocates out there who may not know, the celebrities out there, do us a favor, tweet hashtag Justice for Leden. We need all of those tweets. Thank you for tuning into the Tyra Hill Show. I'm going to keep bringing this conversation to you. Please keep this family in your prayers, and don't forget to tweet. Don't forget to contact your congressmen and congresswomen. And most of all, don't forget to contact Georgia and let them know that we want justice for Leden.
Y'all be blessed and grasp greatness.